Ever run your fingers over like a really luxurious leather bag and thought, how did this even get made?
Yeah.
Well, today we're diving deep into the world of a leather goods product developer to find out.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts from RoleCatcher's career guide, their interview tips, the whole 9 yards.
Cool.
So it's more than just like sketching out a pretty design,
Like,
right?
for sure. It's way more than that. It's more like, imagine being the architect of that bag, the one who takes it from just an idea to a real tangible object.
Okay, so let's break that down. So we're talking less about artistic flair
Yeah.
and a lot more about what?
It's a really interesting blend, actually.
Or
A leather goods product developer is kind of like a translator between the designer's vision, what they picture in their head, and what actually happens on the factory floor. They have to analyze every single detail. I mean, everything from the curve of the handle to the stitch patterns, everything.
wow.
And then they turn all of that into a blueprint that the manufacturers can actually follow to create the product.
So instead of a designer saying make it red, it's like pages and pages of really specific measurements and material specs. And
Exactly. And even then, it's not just about the color, right? They're deciding if that red is achieved with a specific dye on calfskin or maybe a vegetable tanned leather.
oh, wow.
And they know all of that impacts how the final product will feel, how durable it is, all of that. They're even thinking about how the leather will age, the patina. It's really incredible.
That's wild. And I bet those material choices are a huge deal in the luxury market in particular, right?
Huge. Think about it. A handbag.
Yeah.
A product developer might have to decide between using a really rare, crazy expensive Italian leather or a more cost-effective option, knowing that will totally change the final product.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it also impacts the profit margin for the company. It's a real balancing act of luxury and reality, for sure.
High stakes. So it sounds like this industry is for those who really thrive under pressure. What's the overall vibe like beyond just the chic, finished products?
Yeah, well, RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat it. They basically say that it's competitive, it's fast-paced, and you're working long hours. Deadlines are always looming, especially in luxury, because trends change so quickly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I imagine there's a certain thrill to that, right?
Yeah.
Like being a part of creating something that everyone wants.
Absolutely. There's immense satisfaction when you see your designs come to life, when you can actually hold that finished bag that was once just an idea you had.
Yeah.
Plus, the industry itself is booming right now. People love their high-quality leather goods.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's say someone is listening, they're totally hooked, and they're thinking, this is so me.
Mm.
What skills do they actually need to really stand out in this industry?
Well, creative eye is important, obviously, but the technical side is super important too, and you can't underestimate it.
Okay.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes skills like knowing CAD software and pattern engineering.
Pattern engineering, what even is that?
It's intense. Just imagine you have this 3D design, this sleek handbag, right? And you have to break that down into 2D patterns like a super complex puzzle. Every single stitch line and seam has to line up perfectly during assembly, so you have to get it exactly right. It's this crazy place where art meets meticulous precision.
Wow. I'm starting to see why those luxury bags come with a luxury price tag.
Yeah.
It's not just the brand name, it's serious skill.
Exactly. And don't forget the soft skills.
Oh, right.
Leather goods product developers are like the hub, right? They're the connection between the designers, the manufacturers, and sometimes even the clients.
Yeah.
Clear communication is key. You've got to make sure everyone's on the same page, or things can go sideways really fast.
So you've got this blend of artistic talent, technical prowess, and you're a master communicator. Where do you actually begin a career journey like that?
Well, according to RoleCatcher,
So we've talked about all the amazing skills you need to make it in the world of leather goods.
right?
But how do you actually break into the industry? What's the career path look like?
RoleCatcher does a good job of laying out the career ladder,
Okay.
and it usually starts with a role like junior leather goods product developer. It's like your apprenticeship in the world of, fancy handbags and all that.
Okay, so you're fresh out of design school, portfolio ready to go, dreaming of designing the next it bag.
Right.
What's the day-to-day actually like for a junior product developer?
Yeah, so you're probably not designing that it bag right out of the gate.
Right.
At this stage, it's about learning the ropes from the more experienced people.
Yeah.
You might be helping out with researching materials, meticulously updating those intricate pattern designs that we talked about.
Yeah.
Maybe even getting hands-on with prototype evaluation.
With prototype evaluation, so they let you actually like touch the bags?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where the designs go from being theoretical to being real tangible things.
Cool.
You might be examining the very first physical sample of a bag, testing all the zippers, making sure it meets the quality standards.
Oh, wow. I bet that's exciting, but also nerve-wracking.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you're seeing your baby steps become an actual product.
Yeah.
And sometimes that prototype evaluation means going back to the drawing board.
Oh, right.
You have to refine the design, make sure every little detail is perfect.
Talk about a learning curve. Okay, so you're mastering the basics, getting your hands dirty, or I guess not too dirty since we're talking about luxury leather.
Right, right.
When do you actually get to take on more responsibility?
So that's where you move up to the role of assistant leather goods product developer.
Okay.
You're still working closely with the senior team,
Uh-huh.
but you're taking on more ownership of the work.
So less getting coffee and more of the design decisions.
Exactly. Now, you might be tackling those super complicated patterns on your own.
Wow.
You might be selecting materials, the hardware for the bags,
Yeah.
maybe even helping with the pricing and the whole production process.
Cool.
It's really about seeing the entire life cycle of a product, from
Yeah.
the initial idea to the factory floor and then beyond.
I can only imagine how satisfying it must be to then see something that you helped create,
Yeah.
like out in the wild on someone's arm, turning heads.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely a thrill to that. And, even as you progress in your career, RoleCatcher really emphasizes how important it is to never stop learning in this industry.
Makes sense, yeah.
There are always new materials, new techniques,
Right.
advancements in manufacturing. It's constantly changing.
So you're not just designing for today's trends, you have to be thinking about what's next.
Exactly. You got to have your finger on the pulse of everything: fashion, technology, even sustainability.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because let's face it, people are a lot more conscious now about the impact of their choices.
Totally, especially when we're talking about luxury goods.
Right.
It's about investing in things that are high quality, well-made, that will last.
For sure. And so as you gain more experience, as you refine your skills, as you learn about all these industry shifts,
Yeah.
you might find yourself climbing the ranks to that coveted position of senior leather goods product developer.
Okay, the big leagues.
Yeah.
What sets a senior product developer apart in this world of super detailed, meticulous craftsmanship?
At that level, you're not just managing individual products anymore. You're basically steering the ship.
Wow.
You're leading whole design teams, working directly with the suppliers and the manufacturers.
Yeah.
You're overseeing budgets, timelines, the whole 9 yards.
So you really are like the conductor of an orchestra, but a luxury fashion orchestra.
That's a good way to put it.
I can hear the music now.
Yeah.
So you've got all this experience, all this knowledge. What's a day in the life actually like for a senior product developer?
Well, it's definitely a dynamic mix of...
Okay, so we're back, and I'm already feeling a little overwhelmed, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I can barely sew a button, and we're talking about leading entire design teams.
Right, right. Well, there are a few steps before you get there.
True, true.
It's a whole journey.
It is a journey. Okay, so let's say someone is listening, and they're like, okay, sign me up. Where do I apply? What does RoleCatcher say about actually landing one of these jobs? Because it's got to be competitive, right?
Mm.
Even those like luxury and those bags are expensive, it can't be easy.
It's definitely not a walk in the park. It's still a job market out there, and one thing that RoleCatcher talks a lot about is the role of technology,
Okay.
and specifically AI in the hiring process.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so are robots like literally coming for my dream job?
Well, not exactly,
Okay.
but a lot of companies are using AI to streamline how they're recruiting people.
Okay.
It's kind of like this super powered filter, It goes through tons of resumes in like minutes.
Oh, wow. And what is the AI, like what is it filtering for? Is it looking for a resume that's in a very specific font or something?
It's all about keywords.
Okay.
These AI systems, they scan for certain words and phrases that match up with the job description.
Uh-huh.
And if your resume isn't speaking that language,
Right.
you might get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of like how we talked about product developers needing to speak both designer and manufacturer.
Yes.
Now I need to add AI to my resume.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher, they actually have some cool tools that can help you with this.
Oh, really?
They can analyze job descriptions and tell you what keywords to make sure you use on your resume.
Wow.
It's like giving your application a little AI boost,
That's amazing. Okay, so let's say my resume makes it past the robots.
Right.
And I get an interview. What's the key to really wowing them in person.
This is where that passion for leather goods really comes in.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's interview guide really stresses the importance of authenticity.
Okay.
They want to see your own perspective,
Got
not
it.
just a list of your skills,
Right. So they want to see your passion.
Yeah.
So less about, I can use this software, I could do that, and more about, this is why I love leather.
Right?
Oh.
Exactly. Be ready to talk about what inspires you, the trends you're excited about,
Okay.
maybe even your dream leather goods project. They want to see that spark, that real love for what you do.
And having a killer portfolio, I'm assuming that helps too.
Oh, absolutely. That's your chance to show off what you can do, highlight your skills, let your style come through.
Yeah, yeah. So it is all connected, right?
Totally.
Like from understanding those technical patterns to choosing the perfect leather to making sure your resume speaks robot.
Yeah.
It all comes down to having this really unique blend of artistry, technical know-how, and even that entrepreneurial spirit.
You nailed it. And you know what I think is so cool about this field?
Right.
It's not just about making beautiful objects.
Right, yeah.
It's about the people who make them.
Yeah.
The people who put so much of their own passion and skill and creativity into every detail.
And that's what makes it so fascinating to dive into, right? It's like we're uncovering these hidden stories behind the objects that we see all the time but don't really think about.
Totally.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll be talking about your leather goods brand on the show.
No, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. Well, that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of a leather goods product developer. Thanks for joining us.